What's going on, everybody? Who's ready for a beer? What's up, Kentucky? Good thing you're almost home. Yep, I'm your 2 o'clock alarm for it's beer time. It is beer time. I'm kind of excited about this one. I don't know why. It's going to be different. I feel like it's going to be a different experience. Hopefully, we'll see. We shall see. What's up, Rex? How you doing? DC, my man. What's up, Derek? How you doing? I'm ready for a beer, guys. I'm ready. Been waiting too long. Hell yeah, guys. Cheers. Who's ready? I'm ready? I think I'm ready. I think so. Well, you guys ready? I'm ready. So, let's do this. Boom. What is going on, everybody? Oh, I clicked the wrong button. God damn it. Get out of here. Okay. What is up, everybody? Happy Throwdown Thursday to you all, and welcome to another live beer review. And today, we got a cool one. I got another one here from Pipeworks Brewing Co. From here in Chicago. But I could say they're pretty heavily available throughout, like, getting towards the East Coast and all that. So I'm pretty excited for this one, because today we're looking at some Forest Fauna, which is IPA with Centennial and Simcoe hops. Also, the real kicker in here, it's brewed with spruce tips. So, I'm expecting more of a piney experience from this beer, which I'm excited for just because I lean more towards the citrus end of things for an IPA. So, having one that's going to be, I'm assuming, more on the piney side is going to be for an interesting experience. And this is a different kind of can art I'm used to seeing from Pipeworks. I don't know. I'm used to seeing like crazy ninjas, lizards, and just intricate can art. When this one's just very clean and kind of gives that kind of feeling of being in the forest. I know there's a unicorn right there. I think that's pretty dope. But yeah, I've talked about Pipeworks before with like the Lizard King and the Ninja versus Unicorns and all that stuff. But this one's a completely new experience from what I'm used to trying for them, hopefully. So I'm really excited. But I've talked about Pipeworks before. They're out of Chicago, but they distribute throughout the East Coast and kind of go into different states. But so they have a bunch of different like distributors around different states and all that stuff. So you can get them in like New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and then you can get them through Minnesota and also Colorado as well. So, but also if you're using Tavour, you can also find their stuff on Tavour, which is really cool. But I'm really excited to drink this one. So I'm expecting a lot of pine, maybe a little bit of citrus in here from the Simcoe, but I want to feel like I'm going through a forest. I want to get like dank kind of forest floor kind of flavors. But without further ado, let's crack this guy open. Let's see what we're getting on the smell. Okay, yeah, definitely getting like an herbal kind of piney on the nose. Also a dog hair that's just chilling on my can. That's great. Oh yeah, definitely more on the piney herbal side. Yeah, a little bit of citrus in there, which I'm not against. This guy comes in at a whopping 7%, so yeah, this is more of like an average kind of style of like American Pale Ale. So let's drink it on my untapped pint glass today. So let's pour this guy and see what we're looking at. Yeah, definitely has more of that golden complexity to it. Nothing really hazy in there, but just looks like a nice, clean, crisp beer. Look at that. Yeah. This one looks pretty delicious. I'm excited about this one, guys. Look at that. Definitely no haze to it. No lactose, no nothing, but just going to be a nice... Yeah, still getting a lot of good amount of those herbal notes to it, like that pine kind of sprucey kind of thing. But without further ado, let's give this guy a try. I'm excited. So, cheers, everybody. Oh yeah, wow. You guys are not gonna believe me, but it's definitely more of a definitely pine forward, but with the spruce tips in there, it's adding like another like element of sweetness that it's actually really, really nice. Holy crap. I wouldn't say it's like a malty sweetness, but you're definitely getting forest floor, dank, pine, resiny kind of feel. It definitely leaves like an oily mouth feel. But yeah, I think this is absolutely fantastic. I was expecting it to be just more of like a bitter pine, but there's a sweetness to it that's really, really nice. Kind of like it balances out really well. You can definitely tell this is a pale ale. But holy crap, that's good. I'm really impressed. It's kind of... So I might be getting some like maybe a little bit like citrus berry notes going on. I don't know, maybe from the Simcoe I think there might be a little bit of like a berry kind of like passion fruit kind of note. But I'm really liking the sweet kind of pine forward, giving it like a... There's like a note that I'm getting on this that's a very unique one, but I recognize it. What is that from? It reminds me of what it reminds you of, just standing in the middle of a forest and like a wind hitting you and you're getting all the smell of the leaves, the spruce, and just like very refreshing, and just this is like the epitome of just like being out in the wilderness, in my opinion. And that nice, like, I think it's more of an herbal sweetness now that I'm drinking it more. And I think that might be from the spruce tips, though, to be honest, because when I think of somebody with using spruce tips in something, I think of like a tea in the wilderness, where you go out to like a stream, a freshwater stream, get some fresh water, boil it, and throw some spruce tips in there, and it probably adds like an extra element of sweetness to it. But overall, this is delicious. Absolutely delicious. There's a little slight breadiness to it, but I wouldn't say it's a malty breadiness. If that makes any sense, I don't know. Because when you think of like a malty beer coming from like maybe like a darker lager, there's a different note of breadiness in there, but this is like more of like a sweeter breadiness. But I think it might be used with like maybe the barleys or like the different malts that they're using in there as well. But overall, Really delicious. I'm really enjoying this one. This is definitely an easy drinker for me, even though it's a 7%. So let's see what people on Untappd are saying about this guy. So, like I just said, this is a 7% ABV. So I would say that's more of like the higher mid-end for ABV when it comes to just a regular IPA. Once you start getting into the 8s, 9s, they start turning into like the Imperial style where it's a double dry hop or something like that. But with over 1,662 ratings, this beer has an average rating of 3.95 out of 5. Which, yeah, it's pretty good. I like it. I really like it. Definitely something that's an easy drinker for me. It goes down really smooth. Has the great oily mouthfeel that I enjoy. I have a nice regular style of IPA. But let's see. Somebody rated a 3.75, 3.5, 4, 3.5, 3.5, 3.75. Thought maybe interesting with the spruce tips. He said it wasn't. Oh, but I wonder what he's thinking on that one because I really like it. He says this guy gave it a 4.25, saying a smooth malty IPA with a strong piney flavor, courtesy of the spruce tips. Which, yeah, that's what I'm getting. It's definitely, somebody gave it a 3, saying it's weird. So yeah, I guess, yeah, because I guess this may be like a beer that's released around Christmas just because of the whole spruce kind of feel. Chris, don't worry, we'll get to that. But overall, pretty high ratings on this. A lot of people were interested in this one just because of the spruce tips in there, and I really like the added element of flavor that it gave to it. It's really enjoyable. Really, really enjoyable to me. Definitely makes it really smooth and just really, really delicious. So, let's see. Let's start going off the ratings here so we can get things rolling. Can art. Yeah, this is, to me, this is very different from the can art I'm used to seeing from Pipeworks, just because it's a lot more bright colors and flashy kind of art, kind of remind you of like a comic book style. But this is just a clean green label with a nice like forest in the background with a unicorn on there. I think it's pretty clean. I like it, and kind of gives it like the how the art and how like the lettering is. It kind of reminds you of like carving into wood, like if you're carving your name into a tree. I guess it has that kind of feel in it too, just kind of like, which is a really nice touch. Definitely a really clean label. I think this dark kind of green would catch my attention at a liquor store or bottle shop, just because you really don't see many labels that have this tone of green in them. And having that like metallic kind of art in there too, it's also really cool. So I like it. I definitely, for what I'm looking for something to catch my attention with this is definitely something that would catch my attention for sure. Just because the colors don't really something you're not really used to seeing together. So I'd give this probably a solid 3.75 to 4 out of 5 for can art. Really nice. I enjoy that. But let's see. If I got this beer in a flight at Pipeworks, would I get another one? To be honest, I think I would. Because something about that like piney sweetness it just gives you that feeling of being in the forest. Definitely is like I could see this being like a holiday, Christmassy kind of release. Know what I'm getting from it? It's definitely like a spruce kind of pine, but I feel like the spruce is actually adding like a different element of sweetness in there that I've never had in a pale ale before. To where it's really enjoyable. It's because I'm getting that malty kind of like slight, I don't want to say maybe like a strawberry off the like with a little bit of the vine in there, but then there's that pine kind of that comes in and adds that little bit more of a sweetness that's like a natural pine sweetness, if that makes any sense. Kind of when you think from like a sap or anything like that. But overall, I feel like these spruce tips they might have been a little sappy, just because it's adding like a natural sweetness from maybe the sap of the spruce. I don't know. It's an interesting concept to try to think about, but I think it would make sense too, because if there's like a sappiness, that would give it that kind of resiny, dank kind of flavor as well. So, and that's all balancing really, really, really well with this. It's a very, very different style of pale ale that I'm used to having. Definitely, there's a little bit of sediment on the bottom, but it's more of like, I think that's some of the. It kind of looks like of a spruce tip kind of thing. I think there may be spruce tips on the bottom of this glass. Which, overall, this is there's definitely some stuff floating around in here, which I'm all for because that's just extra flavor. So, I think if I would have gotten this in a flight at Pipeworks, I'd 100% get this. I'd probably get a growler of this to bring home. I'm really enjoying this. This is such an easy drinker. Very, very smooth. Very, very tasty. You still get the pine kind of hoppy kind of flavor, but that added, like, resiny, sappy sweetness along with, like, a little bit of a citrus, but I'm mixing in with, like, a berry in there as well. Oh, yeah. I think the berry note I'm getting is probably, like, more of, like, a strawberry. I think, plus I think there's that natural sweetness of the malts that they use in here as well, but the very, very unique thing about this one is those spruce tips. I'm really enjoying what they did with this one. Big props to Pipeworks for actually having the gall to make a beer with spruce tips, because that's something I don't think I've ever seen that often. And from what I'm tasting, it worked. It absolutely worked. Oh, yes it is. As you can see, like, whenever I have this glass in my hand, I want it in my mouth because it tastes so good. So this is definitely something that will go down really easy. So let's go down to final ratings here. Since can art's good, definitely we get in a flight. But what is going to be my final rating on this guy? I think you guys have been hearing me long enough say I'm really liking the spruce flavor in this. It adds like a separate sweetness that's just very unique. And kind of adds that element of like a sappy, piney, resiny kind of flavor as well. It also creates that nice oily mouthfeel that's just, to me, for this kind of IPA, very, very desirable and just absolutely fantastic. I'm really a big fan of this one. Plus that extra element of sweetness that's added in there, you can definitely tell this isn't your run-of-the-mill, just everyday IPA. It's not. It's definitely not like your original style of an American Pale Ale. It's definitely sweeter than your usual one. I think with some of the other run-of-the-mill, like regular Pale Ales, it's going to be a lot more malty. You're going to let that malty sweetness kind of speak more, and maybe like a slight citrus / pine in there. But when it comes to this one, having that malty sweetness, but then letting the spruce pine resin flavor kind of come forward more and speak for itself to add that extra note of sweetness that is different. Oh, 100% this is awesome. Really big fan. So let's see. What is my final rating on this guy going to be? I honestly am going to give this a very, very solid. I'm going to go with like an 8.75, almost a 9. I'm really, really enjoying this one, guys. This would probably be one of my go-to just regular. I like it that much to where I'd probably keep a case of this in my house as much as possible if I could, because it's a change of pace. It's a different style of pale ale. So if you had like a token pale ale that you keep in your fridge, to me this would be one of them. Just because if you're looking for that extra sweetness of a pale ale that you usually don't get, this would be something that I highly recommend anybody in here who has not tried if you're looking for a unique style of pale ale, this would be one that I highly, highly recommend. I guess I'm thinking this is more of like a Christmas winter release, just because of the spruce tips, kind of given that element of when you're drinking this, you want to feel like you're in the wilderness, it's snowing, you can smell the trees, it gives you like a holiday kind of feel to it. But overall, absolutely fantastic. Big props to Pipeworks for making this one absolutely awesome. Yeah, Derek, if you can get some Pipeworks down by you, I know you might be able to, just because Pipeworks is available, I would say, all around Illinois by now. I don't know if you'll be able to get it now, so just keep an eye out for when this releases, probably around the next holiday, probably right getting closer to like fall, winter situation, because I think this is the release that they do with this one, which makes sense. I'm not against. I honestly would enjoy drinking this one all year round, just because it hits every note that I want. It's refreshing, and Oh no, I'm definitely. This is gonna go down really easy. So, guys, I think that is pretty much it. So, thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. Appreciate every single one of you. If you're watching on the replay, thank you again for taking time out of your day and watching my stuff. If you want to see more of like a kind of like a social media kind of aspect of things, make sure to give me a friend request on Untapped. It's just social media for beer drinkers. I like to see what other people drinking and see what other stuff like that. But other than that, I think that's pretty much it. So again, thank you everybody. Appreciate all of you. But since it's Throwdown Thursday and since Chris won't stop bugging me about it, I think that's enough just to down it. So cheers everybody. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your Thursday. One day closer to the weekend. And let's do this. Cheers everybody. Laters.